well done. It's obviously been a very good start and 2 very good away wins in there as well.
Yeah, 2 fantastic 1-0 victories on my journeys and on my travels, and it has to be said, there were on my journeys, on my travels. I think I did about 1,600 mile in terms of getting to and from Hartlepool, to and from Dagenham and Redbridge, and not just to and from home, which is still an hour and a half away for me, but it's a lot of mileage, it's something you have to take into consideration when you've got a group of players that, again, it has to be said that the first 11 have stepped up to the plate, there's no doubt about it, but the first 11 have only stepped up to the plate because the application of the rest of the group, I think the subs, when they've came on, and we've used various subs and they've came on and made an impact of the game, or if they've not made an impact, we've showed it up and made sure we got over the line. We've rolled well up in certain situations, but you're going to have to in every game of football, but bottom line is to come away from a week's work with 9 points. I think every manager in the country, or if not the country, the world, would be delighted with that kind of return. But we're starting again, we've got a difficult job on my hands to prepare for another game of football. When you've got them 3 wins under your belt, it's making sure that nobody gets complacent, nobody starts thinking they've cracked it, nobody thinks all of a sudden it's that easy, this game, because it's the worst game in the world when you start thinking that way. It tends to bite you in the bum, and that's mine and Neil McDonald's job at the moment, make sure that the players are on song with everything we're trying to do. We had a great day on Tuesday, where we trained the players that didn't play in any part of the game, which was a game behind closed doors against Cheltenham. And Cheltenham turned out a decent side, to be fair, on their first team pitch, so it was good professional surrounding, and we had a very good professional performance from the players that didn't actually play any part in the first 3 games. So at the moment, the whole mentality of the changing room is very good, whether it be number 1 on a Saturday right the way through till 11, or whether it be 12 through to 24 or 36, or however many's in the squad these days. Everybody seems to be focused on the job in hand, which is quite simply, it doesn't change, keeping Kidderminster Harriers in the National League this year.
Pressure's often bandied about in football, isn't it? And obviously Harriers have been under a lot of it this season. This weekend, though, it'll be a different kind of pressure, because you're here and you're against the one side that's below you in the table.
Yeah, but if truth be known, when we arrived, we were bottom of the league. We asked the players to catch a team at a time. We don't jump into 5th bottom overnight, it takes time. It certainly was going to take time, because we had 20 points and we had a distance or a gap between us and the 5th bottom team, which was at the time Woking. But we know the teams above us, all 4 of us in them positions have actually got promoted last year, either automatically or through the playoffs. So we know what everybody's feeling, we know what everybody's thinking. We also agree that the outside world looking in probably think we're non-league footballers. We're not. We're a group of professional footballers, and we're trying to conduct ourselves in that manner. And hopefully that professionalism will come through loud and clear, whether it be on the field or off the field, that we actually address every kind of challenge that comes our way on a Saturday, and that could be a tackle, it could be a pass, it could be holding yourself together in a 1-0 victory. All of them things are challenges for professional footballers, and at the moment the group of players are doing very well where that's concerned. But again, put it on the wave behind, the wave in front of us is Oxford City, and like you've just made reference to, they're feeling what we were feeling for the whole of the season, bottom of the league. It's not a nice feeling when you stare at that table and you think you are actually the worst team in that division. The league table's telling you that. I don't think they're the worst team. I've seen some good footballing sides in this division. I've seen some teams on their day can beat anybody, and Oxford City being one of them. They'll be organised, they'll be bang at it, and they're away from home, and normally that's in any division, it's a sign that the pressure's off, the home crowd's not on your back. But where we're concerned, I was absolutely delighted with the reception that myself and Macca, and more importantly the team got in the 4-2 victory against Aldershot. The crowd, over 3,000 for a team that's supposedly struggling. I did my scouting job, which is part and parcel of management, on Tuesday at Solihull Moors, and they've got a very healthy position in the league. If you look at the league tables, if there was 400 at the game, I might be doing them a disservice, but it didn't look that full to me. And I looked at the stadium and the terraces, and you have to be said, the place was rocking, it was bouncing, and the support, if we can get that kind of support on Sunday, I'll be absolutely delighted. I think the chairman's playing his part in giving a lovely, I would have said, it's a great problem that parents have got these days when a child can come through the gates for £1. For me that is a great scheme, and it's something that I'm looking forward to see how many actually turn up. And then, when them kids are coming, then the family starts getting involved, and next thing you know, you've got hundreds of families from Kidderminster are coming to see their hometown team. If we get that, it's our right to entertain them to a certain extent, but there's only one way to entertain Kidderminster Harriers fans at the moment, that's to carry on winning.
Two things that occur to me about this game is that Harriers fans will turn up here. It doesn't happen too often this season. I'm not being flippant, almost expecting you to get the right result because Oxford are below. And the second thing is Oxford will probably turn up. I don't know if it'll be 2 banks of 4 and come and break us down, but it could be something like that.
It could be 2 banks of 5, you never know. As you say, the modern day game is all about when the opposition have got the ball, you've got to defend from wherever. People talk about low blocks, high blocks, medium blocks. It could be in front of their penalty box. But then you're susceptible to the counter-attack. There's all sorts of things from a tactical perspective to look forward to, but really I'm looking forward to seeing the players commit to the game. I think they've committed to 3 games. I think they've committed tactically, technically, certainly physically, and the stats and the numbers are going up the way, and it's got to continue that way. If it continues going that way, then I'll take whatever result comes our way on Saturday, and I can't be any more honest and brutally honest where management's concerned. If you're happy with what you've set, the task or the target for your group of players, if they achieve that task and target, whether it be physically, tactically or technically, and the game goes against you, because it can turn against you this game, then you put up with it, you actually accept it because your players have committed to it. That's all I'm after on Saturday. If we commit, I'll hope for a great result, a positive result. If the supporters commit as well, let's hope for a great day Sunday.
When we spoke last week, you'd already brought 1 or 2 new faces in, changed things around a little bit. You alluded to the fact you were looking probably to make more changes at some point. Any news there?
We've been talking to 1 or 2. It's been very interesting, the talks. I'm not too sure what the previous management team were doing with regards to bringing players in or trying to bolster the squad. But there has been an upturn, I would have said, in players that are interested in coming to us. And now that's not being disrespectful of Russ and Jimmy by any stretch of the imagination, but that's the effect of winning. That's the effect of sort of being in the right frame of mind where football's concerned. Nobody wants to join a team that's at the bottom of the division. Nobody wants to join a losing team. Nobody wants to go into a change room that's used to losing and continue used to losing. And if we've got the right kind of people that come in, and it is about mentality, if we've got the right kind of people coming into the club, then I'll be delighted if we can bring another couple in. I think the chairman and Dean Holsworth have been brilliant in terms of the support, and they've actually, if you're talking about help, they know the players at this level, they know what's required to win a game of football at this level, and that kind of help has been priceless to me and Macca. But hopefully we'll have another couple coming through the doors, and the fact that the old transfer window is in place in the National League it's music to my ears. The old Thursday, I think it was the 3rd Thursday in March. I used to look forward to them days, but because you'd done your business and you had time to do your business, the Premier League and the rest of the footballing world sometimes I think it's beyond recognition. But so long as we can continue to do our business and bring players in, we'll only bring players in that can actually improve the change room. And slowly but surely, the changing room is improving itself at the moment. If that continues, then maybe not any need for to bring anybody in.
Just talking about Kieran Phillips. Obviously, it was out at Havant Waterloo, but when you arrived, you brought him back in, presumably to take a look at him.
Yeah.
And now he's gone out to Hereford. Tell us a bit about that.
Kieran, again, suspect to, I think, to a little bit of timing, and the worst part of the timing is it's fallen when I didn't have a chance to look at him in a game situation. Watching players in training is all well and good, but you don't get a true sense or a true idea of that player. And that applied where Kieran was concerned. We had a game behind closed doors where he could have impressed the present management team at Cheltenham, but he chose the fact that Hereford's deal was on the table before the game, and he chose to move to Hereford and go on a loan there. I'll watch him, there's no doubt about it. I'm not the kind of manager that just turns his back on a player that decides to go and play football, because everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to be in that first 11 on Saturday, but there's only 11 can be there. So good luck to Kieran in his quest for happiness, shall we call it. And like you say, only players that are playing are really happy. The ones that are trying to find a career elsewhere, then I'm not going to stand in the way. Kidderminster Harriers is here for the players who want to play for Kidderminster Harriers, and more importantly, want to play for myself and Neil MacDonald.
Another player who was at Hereford earlier this season is now at Stourbridge, Ethan Fremantle. You've opted not to bring him back in. Is that so he can get game time? What's the thinking there?
I haven't actually seen Ethan. I'm looking and I'll be watching from a distance. The same applies to every player at the football club that's going on loan. I'll be watching them from a distance. Hence the reason why we trained at 9:30 on Tuesday, so I could go and watch the players play. It's the only real place where you can judge a player. You know, you can judge a player on character to a certain extent when you see them day to day, but when you see them in a game situation, when the opposition is real, regardless of whether it's a friendly or not, because there's no such thing anymore, then you've got the real problem of wanting to know who can fit in our change room, who's really wanting to play for Phil Brown, Neil MacDonald, and more importantly Kidderminster Harriers.
Final question. You've had to hit the ground running here, obviously. But looking back at your career, certainly more recently your career, you went to Southend, obviously there were issues there when you were there. Barrow, it was a relegation fight when you went in there.
Yeah.
How does this compare so far?
It's a bigger challenge. The fact that we were almost cut loose, you know, at the bottom end of the table. To actually get 9 points from 3 games has been surprising, first and foremost, known full well that the players, if you look at the history of the club this season, the players have been involved in every game. And what I mean being involved, getting a foothold in a game is hard enough when you've got the opposition coming out of the changing room known full well that they're better than you because you're bottom of the league. So all that psychology does play a part in the mentality of a player. So to inherit that kind of mentality and to turn it around in such a short space of time, our biggest challenge now is to continue. If we can continue with that same kind of mentality, there's no need or no reason for us to lose the next game or lose a running set of games and go back to what we've been used to. I think the players know full well what I'm all about. I think there's a certain way of playing at this level, there's a certain way of playing in these situations. They've took everything that we've said on board, and it has to be said, you know, when you invest time, effort and energy in a message and you get it in return from the group of players, there's nothing better in the game of football. It doesn't matter if you're at the top end or the bottom end of the division. And I think we've got commitment from the group of players in such a short space of time. It's quite phenomenal, but it needs to continue, and that's the message. We need to continue this run of games, run of wins, run of form, this belief or feeling that we've got at the moment. We just have to carry on with it as long as we possibly can.
That's great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Just a word on a couple of the lads. Sam Robinson, obviously we spoke about being a longer term injury, but also Sam Bellis, who you missed out last week. How are both of they coming along?
Sam Robinson, having really just witnessed him for a minute or two in the first game that I came to see, which was the Altrincham game, disappointing for him, but he's coming along very, very nicely. And what I mean by that is I don't know the lad entirely, but he looks like he's got the right mentality, he's got the right shape, he's got the right discipline for an injured player, and that is one of hard work. It's difficult. It's a lonely life being injured. You know, you're out there, you see your players training, you're envious of the fact you just want to get in amongst the group, and it's a difficult time for Sam Robinson. But with that kind of mentality, he'll be back sooner rather than later. I don't think it's going to go the full journey in terms of the 12 weeks that it was predicted. I think he'll be coming back a lot earlier than that. Where Sam Bellis was concerned, he went into a session a couple of days before the game on Saturday against Dagenham and Redbridge, and it just a coming together of two players, and he went over on his ankle, but he's actually responded very well to treatment. He's responded very well to training as well, because he was out on the grass on Tuesday, so he's been out for 2 or 3 days now on the grass, and fingers crossed he should be okay for when I name the team tomorrow. Now, whether he'll be in it or not is another question. I've just said to the group of strikers that we've got, for a team that supposedly when I first arrived couldn't score a goal, we've got 6 goals in 3 games, and we've changed the strike force of from 2 to a 3 or 1 to a 3, whichever you want to call it. And on 3 occasions we've changed all 3 strikers, you know. So at this moment in time, it looks like the competition for places is actually working on the front line. If that continues, we've got a great chance. So Sam Bellis is back, fit, available for selection. Whether he starts the game is a different question.